Friends, welcome you back once again in geological knowledge. So as we are dealing with some important topics related to the JAM and BHU PET examination, and that sequence we are dealing with the mineralogy section, in which the physical properties of the minerals, that's the topic of our discussion. And so far we have discussed four videos on this, in which we have talked about the fracture, the cleavage, hardness, specific gravity, tenacity. Okay, and in the sequence of that discussion, today we will discuss some other very important physical properties of minerals, and this will be the fifth video in that succession. So let's start our discussion. So first question deals with the density range lies between 2.5 and 4.5 gram per cubic centimeter for which type of minerals? Metallic minerals, the non-silicate not metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals, metalloid, or the ore minerals. So the non-metallic minerals, they have the low values of density ranging between 2.5 and 4.5 gram per cubic centimeter, and whereas the metallic minerals and the economic ores, they have a higher density, and the density ranges sometimes up to as high as 20 gram per cubic centimeter, as given in the discussion. And in the previous video we have also discussed about uh, the specific gravity of the common silicate minerals, that is about 2.65, and those of the ore minerals, that varies from 4.5 to 10 or greater than 10. Okay, sometimes it can be as high as 20 gram per cubic centimeter. Okay, so the correct option here is option B, non-metallic minerals. Next one is atoms of greater atomic radii show less density, greater density, no difference, or doesn't depend on the atomic radii. So the minerals with the atoms of greater atomic radii, they show less density values compared to those of which are made up of atoms of small atomic radii. Okay, so the correct option here is option A, that is of less density. Okay, you can say the higher the atomic radii, less is the density. So that's the relationship between atomic radii and the density of the mineral. Next one is form in which neither a crystal face nor a cleavage is seen is known as crystalline form, crystallized, amorphous, or the crystalline as well as the crystallized form. So we all know that is amorphous form is a form in which the neither a crystal face nor a cleavage is seen. Okay, so there is no evidence of order of arrangement of the atoms in this form. Okay, so that's the definition of the amorphous form, because they have no orderly arrangement of the atoms in a particular minerals. That's why it's named as amorphous form. So the right answer or the correct option here is option C. Next one is the minerals which develop electric charges upon heating are called as pyroelectric minerals, piezoelectric minerals, paramagnetic minerals, or the diamagnetic minerals. So we all know there are some other properties like electrical properties of the minerals, and the two most important properties of minerals, these are the pyroelectricity and the piezoelectricity. So if we talk about the pyroelectricity, so certain minerals, they develop an electric charge when they are subjected to a temperature change. Okay, or we can say electric charge upon the heating processes, and that's why they are known as pyroelectric minerals, or to a stress piezoelectric. If they are subjected to a temperature change, then these minerals will be known as pyroelectric minerals, and if they are subjected to the stress change, then they will be called as piezoelectric minerals. And tourmaline is a best example of the pyroelectric minerals, where when tourmaline is heated to a when tourmaline is heated, a tourmaline crystal that becomes negatively charged at its sharp end and positive charge at the blunt end of the mineral. Okay, and the most important piezoelectric mineral, if we talk about, that is quartz. Okay, so you have to keep in mind the examples also. The pyroelectric mineral, example of pyroelectric mineral, that is tourmaline, and best example of piezoelectric mineral, that is quartz. So suitably oriented thin plates of which respond to exceeding small variation in the directed pressure, and millions of plates they have been used for the frequency control in radio as well as the telephone system. Okay, so there are significances also, okay, in the electric items, electric instruments like telephone system or the in the radio frequency waves. So that's the correct option here is option A, pyroelectricity. Okay, so you have to remember the keywords, that is if they are heated means upon the pressure. Okay, electrically charged when subjected to a temperature or the heating up, so that mineral is known as pyroelectric, and if they are subjected to the stress change, then they will be known as piezoelectric minerals. Okay, and the same is written in the example. In some minerals an electric charge may be developed by the heating process, and these are known as the pyroelectric minerals. Okay, and the best example is tourmaline. Okay, and next one is that the phenomena where electric charge develops due to the application of pressure or the stress, known as pyroelectric minerals, piezoelectric minerals, paramagnetic or the diamagnetic. So we have discussed in the previous slide. So in some minerals an electric charge is developed by applying the pressure, and this group is termed as piezoelectric minerals. Okay, and best example is tourmaline as well as the quartz mineral. Option B is the right answer. Next one is how many minerals are present in the scale of fusibility given by von Kobel, and it's very important question for the exam point of view, because it's certain generally asked in the examinations, especially in the objective type of examination. So what is von Kobel scale? We will have to understand the basics. So the relative fusibility of a certain minerals, that is useful character as an aid in their determination by the blowpipe. So a scale of 6 minerals of which the temperature of fusion was supposed to increase by somewhat equal steps was suggested by von Kobel scale. Okay, so how many minerals are there? 6 minerals are there. Okay, and what was the basis of the classification of that scale, von Kobel scale? So they were temperature of fusion was supposed to increase by somewhat equal step suggested by von Kobel scale, and these minerals are very important. Sequence is also important, as well as their temperature is also important. Okay, sorry, their melting point is also important. So these minerals are stibnite, natrolite, almandine, garnet, actinolite, orthoclase as well as bronzite. Okay, and the same is given in the description box. And just like Mohs scale of hardness, one have to understand and one have to remember this scale also, the fusibility scale. And all that can be said of this scale is that stibnite is easy to fusible. As you can see from the scale, stibnite is easily fusible, whilst bronzite can hardly be fused in the ordinary blowpipe. Okay, and the approximate melting points of the minerals, that's also very important. The approximate melting point in the von Kobel scales, these are stibnite at 502.5 5 degrees Celsius, natrolite at 965 degrees Celsius, almandine garnet at 1050 degrees Celsius, actinolite at 1200 degrees Celsius, orthoclase at 1300 degrees Celsius, and bronzite is 1400 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's the name of minerals, their order, as well as their melting points. Okay, so the question was there, how many minerals are present in a scale of fusibility given by von Cobell? So these are 6 minerals. So you have to remember the number of minerals, their basis of the classification, their sequence, as well as their melting points. So that's the option D is the right answer. Specific gravity of a mineral changes with temperature. So there is a statement given here and you have to answer it whether it's true or false. So as you can see, since temperature as well as the pressure, they both are known to change the volume of the substance, it follows the density will also show a change when the mineral is subjected to elevated temperature as well as the high pressure. Okay, so the statement that specific gravity of a mineral that changes with the temperature, that is the true. Okay, next one is, which of the following minerals can scratch topaz, corundum, apatite, gypsum, quartz? So we all know that is only corundum can scratch topaz, because all other minerals given in the list or given in the options, they have lesser more number of compared to the topaz. Okay, whereas the topaz has hardness of number 9 and corundum is hardness, sorry, topaz has hardness 8 and corundum has hardness 9. So that's why only corundum will be able to scratch topaz, okay, in the given options. So the correct option here is corundum. Next one is, streak color as well as the color of the mineral, they are always the same. So in the previous discussion we have talked about, that is the streak as well as the color of the mineral, they may be same and at some point of time, and they may be different altogether depending upon certain parameters or depending upon the physical and the chemical properties of the minerals. So it follows that the color of a mineral may not be the same as its streak, and for identification streak is relied upon more than the color of the material. Okay, so the given statement that is streak color as well as the color of the mineral are always same, so this is wrong, false. Option B is the right answer. Next one is, which of the following minerals they show phosphorescence? Quartz, orthoclase, calcite, or the galena? So firstly we will have to understand the basic properties like phosphorescence. So there are two important properties like fluorescence as well as the phosphorescence. So there are some minerals, they glow and emit light when they are placed in the ultraviolet lights or certain other electric radiation, and the glow induced in the mineral that may continue for a few seconds or the few minutes after the removal of the cause. So this property of mineral, that is known as phosphorescence. So the concept behind is, the mineral glow and emit light when they are placed in ultraviolet light or certain other electrical radiations. Okay, and the best example is, the example of the minerals which show the phosphorescence are the diamond and sphalerite. Okay, and quartz, that also shows phosphorescence. So phosphorescence is similar to fluorescence in essential character, but in this case light is emitted by mineral not during the act of exposure but after the substance is transferred rapidly to a dark place. And the fluorite, quartz, willemite and the diamond, they also show this phenomena of phosphorescence. So option C is the right answer. Next one is quartz. So which type of luster? So quartz, metallic, vitreous, pearly, or the resinous luster. So vitreous luster is very evident of type of luster which is typical of glass as well as the ice. Okay, and the best example is quartz. Okay, so the correct option here is option B, vitreous luster. Which among the following shows silky luster? Quartz, galena, gypsum, diamond. Okay, so firstly we will understand the silky luster. So it's the luster which is exhibited by the silk fibers and minerals which crystallizes in the fibrous habit they commonly show silky luster, and the best example is asbestos as well as the fibrous gypsum. Okay, so silky luster is like the shine of a pure silk, that's why it's known as silky luster, and the example, best example is gypsum. So option C is the right answer. So this was our discussion about some other very important properties of the physical properties of minerals, and in which we have talked about phosphorescence, the luster of some minerals, okay, von Quebel scale of fusibility, and in the next video we will talk about some other important properties of minerals like the magnetic properties or the other related properties. Okay, thank you.